Hello everyone, back again with movie and tune recap. Today, I'm going to explain an Australian-Colombian survival thriller film from 2017, titled The Jungle. Spoilers ahead, so watch out and take care. In the early 1980s, an Israeli adventurer named Yosi Ginsberg travels across different places and eventually arrives in Bolivia, planning to explore the Amazon rainforest. While continuing his journey by boat, Yosi locks eyes with a woman, and just before they leave, a man heading to the Amazon stops them. He introduces himself to Yosi as Marcus Stam, a Swiss school teacher, and both of them quickly become friends. They camp with other people, and it is clear that the woman Yosi saw is interested in him. Later in the city, Marcus meets his friend Kevin Gale, an American hiker and photographer. That night, they talk about Kevin's travels, and Yosi shares his desire for adventure and to meet new tribes. Back in the forest, the woman introduces herself as Amy, and she and Yosi grow closer. They both drink a hallucinogenic tea, and as it takes effect, they imagine themselves making out. The next morning, while talking about books, Yosi tells Amy that his father does not support his adventures and thinks they are a waste of time. After this, Yosi, Kevin, and Marcus travel to La Paz during a festival and stay at an Israeli community hostel. One day at the market, a stranger asks Yosi if he is American, and he says no. The man, an Austrian named Karl Ruprechter, tells him about a hidden tribe in the jungle and claims he knows them. Excited about the idea of adventure and meeting a tribe like the Toromonas, Yosi believes him. He returns to convince Marcus and Kevin to join the trip. At first, they are unsure and refuse, but Yosi keeps persuading them until they finally agree. Kevin, who is a photographer, is excited about the chance to film rare tribes, hoping it will get him into National Geographic. The next day, the three friends meet Carl in a shop while he is buying supplies for the journey. They are surprised when Carl takes the supplies and tells them they will pay for everything. That night as they prepare for the trip, Yosi shows them a talisman his uncle gave him before he left home, saying it would protect him. Yosi explains that his uncle survived war and prison camps while carrying it, but died 2 days after giving it to him. The next day, Yosi, Kevin, Marcus, and Carl begin their journey by airplane. They arrive at Apollo on November 4, 1981, and then continue on foot into the jungle, and as they travel, Carl keeps talking about the forest. That night around a campfire, Carl tells them more about tribal cultures and the Toromonas hidden in Madidi. Even though the rainy season is still 2 weeks away, they face heavy rain, and the following night, they sit by a fire to keep warm. The next morning, the three friends accidentally get separated from Carl, but with the help of a passerby, they find him again by the riverside. They then reach a village called Azriamas, where it is clear that Carl knows the villagers. Yosi and his friends are warmly welcomed and quickly become the center of attention in the village. The next day, Marcus helps treat injured villagers, while Kevin takes photographs of them. After spending several days in the village, the group continues their journey into the forest. Along the way, Carl hunts down a monkey and brutally kills it, and that night, they cook and eat the meat. After walking for days, Marcus begins to struggle and discovers his feet are covered in painful, bloody sores. By this point, Kevin and Yosi Ginsberg are tired of his complaints, as he is slowing them down. Marcus soon realizes they are talking about him and breaks down in tears. Knowing they need to leave the jungle before the rainy season begins, Yosi, Kevin, and Carl discuss what to do. Carl suggests leaving them to go get help, but Yosi and Kevin refuse. Marcus then joins them, and Kevin suggests they build a raft so they can all travel together down the river. Carl warns them about dangerous rapids, but they decide to go ahead with the plan, and together, they build a raft and paddles and begin their journey on the river. At first, things go smoothly, but they soon hit strong rapids and barely make it through. Tension rises when Carl and Kevin start giving different directions, leading to an argument. Angry at Kevin for taking control, Carl steers the raft to the shore and says he is going hunting. Later, after setting up camp, Kevin mentions that he noticed Carl is afraid of water and believes he cannot swim. Worried that Kevin may have upset him, Yosi goes to look for Carl so he won't abandon them, and while searching, Yosi is nearly shot by Carl, who mistakes him for an animal. Carl then refuses to continue traveling by river and says he will go on foot instead. He plans to hike to Ipurama, which he says is only 3 days away, and tells them they can either follow him or continue on their own. Later, Kevin and Yosi discuss continuing the river journey without Marcus, knowing they will have to convince him to go with Carl on foot. Yosi goes to Marcus and tells him about the plan to continue the journey on the river without Carl. Marcus thinks the idea is crazy and says Carl shouldn't go alone, and Yosi explains that one of them has to go with him. Because Marcus' feet are badly injured, he cannot continue on the raft, so Yosi convinces him to go with Carl just for 3 days, and Marcus agrees without arguing. Later, Carl explains to Kevin and Yosi about the dangerous rapids ahead and a beach where they will need to stop. They divide their food, and Carl gives Kevin a machete while he keeps the shotgun. After everything is settled, Marcus and Carl leave the group to hike back to civilization, hoping to return to La Paz. They all say their goodbyes before going their separate ways. Meanwhile, Yosi and Kevin continue their journey down the river. They pass through some rapids, but later encounter much stronger ones. Their raft gets stuck on a rock in the middle of the raging water. Kevin decides to swim to shore and tells Yosi to throw him the machete so he can cut vines and pull him to safety. However, the raft is destroyed by the force of the rapids, and Yosi is swept away by the river, leaving Kevin behind. After struggling in the water, Yosi finally reaches the shore and climbs up a cliff to the top. He begins calling out for Kevin, but gets no response. The next morning, Yosi sees his backpack floating in the river. He jumps in to retrieve it and manages to get it back. Inside, he finds a stimulant drug, which he takes to regain strength, and with renewed energy, he starts climbing hills and continues calling out for Kevin. Yosi finally gives up searching for Kevin, and without a knife, tools, or survival training, he has to survive on his own by building shelter and finding food. He checks his map and continues walking, and when he sees a snake, he kills it. That night while trying to rest, Yosi thinks he sees Marcus calling him, but it is only a hallucination. Later, a jaguar attacks him, but he manages to scare it away using burning lighter fluid. The next day, Yosi leaves notes along his path in case Kevin is following him. He also has a large swelling on his forehead, which he cuts open and finds a worm inside. He drains the blood and closes the wound using fire ants, and to survive, he eats raw eggs with partially developed fetuses for nutrition. He eventually reaches Playa, the place he was heading to, but finds it empty with no one living there. The next place, Rarenaback, is still several days away, and Yosi begins to lose hope as he loses his sense of direction and wonders if he will survive. His foot becomes badly infected, but he keeps moving, and at one point, he sees a footprint and feels hopeful, but then realizes it is his own. This shows he has been alone in the jungle for at least 2 weeks, and soon, heavy rains begin, making his situation even worse. Meanwhile, Kevin is rescued by people from a nearby town and taken to Rarenaback, about 120 miles from Playa, and after recovering, he asks local authorities to help find Yosi. Kevin and a pilot later fly over the jungle to search for him, but they do not find him. Yosi tries to signal them, but they do not see him. Back in the village, the leader of the local authorities tells Kevin that Yosi is dead, saying no one can survive in the jungle for 3 weeks. However, Kevin believes Yosi is still alive and is determined to find him, even if it risks his own life. The leader then directs Kevin to Tico, a local boat pilot who knows the jungle well. At first, Tico refuses, believing Yosi is dead, but Kevin keeps convincing him until he agrees, and they set off on the river to search for Yosi. Back in the jungle, a hopeless Yosi encounters an abandoned native woman, and even though they cannot speak the same language, he manages to communicate with her. Feeling responsible for her, protecting her gives Yosi new strength to keep going and try to survive. The next day, Yosi and the woman continue walking toward the river with Yosi using a stick to help him move. One night, while resting, Yosi wakes up and finds the woman is gone, it was only a hallucination. The following day, weak and exhausted, Yosi continues. He accidentally falls into a swamp but struggles and climbs out by grabbing a tree branch. He again hears someone calling his name and becomes determined to reach the river. Using his last strength, he crawls to a tree full of fire ants and shakes it, letting the ants fall on him. The bites make him scream, but the pain gives him energy to run toward the river. By now, Yosi is severely malnourished with wounds all over his body. He tries to build a raft but has no energy left. On day 19, Kevin and Tico reach the area where Yosi was seen the night before but cannot find him. Tico apologizes to Kevin, saying he did all he could, and Kevin begins to accept that Yosi is dead. As they start returning to the village, malnourished Yosi, lying nearby, hears their voices. He sees Kevin and Tico but cannot call for help because he has no strength. Fortunately, Kevin spots him, and they rush to rescue him, and after 19 days in the jungle, Yosi is finally taken to Rarenabak. The movie ends with villagers surrounding Yosi, thanking God that the missing man has been found. The epilogue shows that Yosi and Kevin return to La Paz, but they do not see Marcus or Carl. It is revealed that Carl lied about the hidden tribes and was known for tricking backpackers into dangerous trips, and was wanted by the authorities. Carl and Marcus never returned to La Paz and were never seen again, and to this day, no one knows why Carl chose Yosi. The movie is based on a true story. Photos of the real Yosi Ginsberg, Kevin, and Marcus are shown, and the film is dedicated to Marcus's memory. Okay guys, that's all the recap about The Jungle from 2017. Thanks for watching, see you again in the next video.